The walls of the NFL landscape just moved, and the tremors are being felt from Las Vegas all the way to the streets of Philadelphia. We're talking about a seismic, franchise-altering blockbuster that has sent shockwaves through every front office in the league. Is this the most aggressive power move we've seen in a decade? Or is one team playing a dangerous game of poker with their entire future? If you want to stay locked in on every massive trade and breaking story across the league, do yourself a favor. Hit that like button, share this with your crew, and subscribe to the channel right now. The news is out, and it is absolutely massive. Maxx Crosby is officially leaving the Las Vegas Raiders and heading to the Baltimore Ravens in exchange for two massive first-round picks in 2026 and 2027. This isn't just a trade. It's a statement of intent that has completely redefined the power structure of the AFC. But while the league reels from that news, we have to look at the collateral damage and the what-ifs that are haunting fans in Philly. For weeks, the rumors were swirling that the Philadelphia Eagles were lurking in the shadows, ready to pounce on the man they call Mad Max. There's even whispers that Howie Roseman was considering the unthinkable, putting a young superstar like Jalen Carter on the table to make the numbers work. Can you imagine the chaos if that had actually gone down? It's the kind of high-stakes gambling that makes the NFL the greatest reality show on earth. The Raiders were demanding a king's ransom, and for a long time, it felt like nobody would blink. But Baltimore decided to push all their chips into the center of the table. They're going all in, betting that Crosby is the missing piece to a Super Bowl puzzle. For the Eagles, it's a moment of what could have been. If they weren't willing to part with multiple first-rounders, was moving a generational talent like Carter the only way to land an elite edge rusher? It's a fascinating look into how front offices value proven veteran greatness versus the sky-high potential of youth. Question of the day: if you were the GM, would you have traded away a young cornerstone like Jalen Carter if it meant guaranteed elite production from Maxx Crosby for a Super Bowl run? Give me your honest takes in the comments below, because I know the Philly faithful are split on this one. Let's talk about the Raiders for a second. This is an organization that has been defined by a specific kind of grit, and Maxx Crosby was the living embodiment of that silver and black mentality. To see him go is a gut punch to a fan base that has endured so much dysfunction. But from a cold, hard business perspective, this is how you trigger a total cultural reset. They're sitting on the #1 overall pick. They've secured a potential franchise quarterback in Fernando Mendoza, and now they have a war chest of draft capital to build a wall around him. They are betting on a future led by offensive minds like Clint Kubiak, moving away from the star-driven model of the past to embrace a long-term rebuild. It's a bitter pill to swallow now, but in 3 years, those two extra first-round picks could be the foundation of a dynasty. On the other side of the coin, the Baltimore Ravens just became the scariest defense in professional football. They have a history of being a hard-nosed, blue-collar, bully ball organization, and Crosby fits that identity like a glove. They aren't worried about 2027 right now. They are worried about the trophy presentation in February. They see a window that is wide open, and they just threw a brick through it. By restructuring Crosby's massive contract, they've managed to fit a $30 million player into a much smaller cap hit, showing once again why their front office is considered one of the elite groups in the sport. They are operating with a win-now urgency that should put every other contender on notice. But what about the internal logic for the Eagles? While the Crosby dream has faded, there is a silver lining that fans need to embrace. Keeping a player like Jalen Phillips, who is younger, cheaper, and arguably just as productive on a per-pressure basis, might actually be the smarter long-term play. It allows for continuity in Vic Fangio's system and keeps the salary cap flexible enough to retain other homegrown stars. We often get blinded by the shiny new object in the trade market, but sometimes the best moves are the ones you don't make. The Eagles have built a powerhouse by hitting on their own draft picks, and staying the course might be exactly what leads them back to the big game. Does the obsession with landing the big name actually distract teams from building a sustainable winning culture? We see it every year. Teams mortgage their entire future for one player, and when it doesn't result in a ring, the fall is catastrophic. The Ravens are taking a massive gamble, And if Crosby's recent injury history catches up to him, those 2 lost first-round picks will haunt them for a generation. Meanwhile, the Raiders are starting from scratch, hoping that their talent evaluators can turn those picks into the next era of legends. It is a high-wire act with no safety net, and we are all just spectators to the madness. As the dust settles on this blockbuster, the reality is clear. The AFC is now a gauntlet, and the NFC teams like the Eagles have to decide if they are content with their current roster or if they need to find their own version of a nuclear option before the deadline. The Maxx Crosby era in Vegas is over, but the ripples of this trade are going to be felt for years to come. Whether it's a masterstroke for Baltimore or a brilliant escape for the Raiders remains to be seen. One thing is certain, the NFL never sleeps, and the next big move is always just one phone call away. Would you like me to break down the potential draft targets the Raiders might eye with those new first-round picks to see how they'll spend their new fortune?